All right, thank you. All right, JP, you're up front. Would you lead us in the pledge?
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, in attendance are Commissioners Brooks, Matari, and Duncan. Are there changes to the agenda? Okay, hearing none. Public comment? Hearing none. We'll go ahead. I would take a motion for meeting minutes.
I move that we approve the meeting minutes, item 1.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. And consent calendar.
I move that we approve the consent calendar 2 through 12.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Item, actually payables list.
I move that we approve payables for January 2 through 5, 2024 in the amount of $1,215,383.26.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. Item 14, right-of-way exchange deed, Worley Highway District and our Solid Waste Department, and our Director, John Phillips, please.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. John Phillips for the record. The Solid Waste Department requests the BOCC reapprove this right-of-way exchange between the Worley Highway District and Kootenai County by signing and having notarized the complete right-of-way exchange deed. The original document supplied by the Worley Highway District was incomplete and therefore could not be recorded correctly. As a reminder, once completed, this document would reconfigure an existing right-of-way that currently crosses a wetland mitigation area at the landfill. The newly configured right-of-way will avoid the wetland and be in a much better location for Kootenai County and Worley Highway District. Jamila Holmes did review this process and gave me guidance related to these procedures.
All right. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the right-of-way deed, Worley Highway District, and between them and solid waste.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right. I think it's just my signature. So we got that. Item 15, board approval request for memorandum of discussion, motivations 911, traveling dispatchers, and our 911 department, and Lieutenant Ryan Higgins, please.
Look, Ryan Higgins for the record. I don't know, did you guys get this packet from Motivations? So in December, we talked about a traveling dispatch service, and really I'm looking for some direction from the board on what proposal you'd like to look at, and two, there's contracts that need to be drafted, et cetera, et cetera. The proposal I would recommend, and what I really asked for, is proposal number 1, which is 2 dispatchers for 40 hours a week, for a total of 80 hours a week. The cost for that comes in at about $118,000, but there's some ancillary costs on top of that, which they said will probably run about 20 or so thousand. It depends on cost for rental housing and some other things. As it gets closer to the time, they'll have to figure that out, and that'll all be laid out in a contract if we decide to move forward with this. I spoke to Brandy this morning at the auditor's office, and currently she and I both feel that there's no funds in the fund balance or in the salary savings for the 911 center, because we're planning on hopefully hiring 7 to 8 people by the end of the budget year, and those funds will be absorbed by those people, those folks. And so I'm looking for direction, if you want to continue on with this project or not. The benefit of it is as you know, it'll take several months to a year to get somebody onboarded and in a seat, and these guys can be in a seat within a matter of about a month, and they can start working and take some relief off of our current staff that they have that are working 48 to so hours overtime every 2 weeks, and so we can maybe eliminate some of that to where they could cover some of those vacation times that people are on. So that's the benefit of it. It's an extremely high cost for 6 months of staff, and I understand that, and so that's kind of where we're at.
Well, how much more is it going to cost if we lose 2 or 3 more dispatchers?
Yeah, exactly, yeah. It'll be substantially more than that in the long run, so.
Okay. Thoughts, Bill?
If we end up with a whole bunch of dispatchers coming in, can we, how quick can we cancel a contract?
That's something that I would ask them. I can find that out, and I'm sure it will be laid out in the contract. In all reality, if we hired somebody, here's an example. We have a gentleman that's an ISP dispatcher for Region 1. He doesn't have to move. He's here. He's in backgrounds right now. I anticipate him being given a conditional offer by the end of the month. He's got some polygraph and psychological to do in the next week or so, and then he's done and with backgrounds. And so I anticipate him, if all goes well, we would have him hired in the first part of March, give ample time for his current employer. It's going to take, even though he's a current dispatcher and worked for us in the past, it's going to take a minimum of 2 months, maybe even 3 months to get him up to speed to where he needs to be at. So you're looking at 4 or 5 months just for that guy, and he's a lateral, and he's already halfway through the process. So I don't think that we'll have enough staff.
So the answer is, though, you don't know.
The answer is, yeah, I don't know if I don't think we'll have enough staff to
Okay.
need to cancel this contract
All right,
prior to the
thank
6
you.
months.
So if we sign up today, how quickly would we have seats occupied with these contractors?
Yeah, it depends on a lot of factors. I would anticipate that we could have them on board by, I'm guesstimating this month, so we're in the middle of January. Maybe as early as the first part of March to the middle of March, we could have them on board. That'll give them time to get their, because they got to do some training on their end. They got to find the people that'll fit our center based on our requirements. They got to find housing. And then we have to provide them with some training once they get here on our system. So I'm hoping that first part of March, middle of March, we could have them in the seats.
Because we wouldn't want it to be so long that they came on
Yeah.
board.
Came in June, it makes no difference.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then the only other question I would have is just, is there a way where we could probably commit to 3 months, because you would want that, but, since we had this meeting and we had made the salary adjustments for the 911, how many applications and laterals have you got?
Yeah, so I'm glad you brought that up, because I was going to mention it. Is currently we have 11 applicants and backgrounds at various stages. Some have been assigned to investigators. Some of them are still working on their application background packet, what they call it. And then we have over 40, I heard 48 is the number that sticks in my head, of applications that are pending interviews and or the written tests that we have, the critical tests that we have. I have 8 interviews scheduled for Thursday. I have another 7 scheduled for the following Thursday. So we're getting lots of applicants. That's the good news that I can report to you guys. We're getting tons of applications, all related to the cost or the wage adjustment that was done in December. Since that notice went out, we've seen an influx of applications. In fact, I'm interviewing a supervisor from one of the Spokane dispatch centers tomorrow morning, and he's been there for several years. So we're getting that influx of people. So I'm optimistic that by this time next year, we'll be in a far better place than we are currently. But in the meantime, how are we going to bridge that gap? And this would possibly bridge that gap.
So like a 3-month minimum commitment, and then a month-to-month based upon
I can ask that.
how
Yeah.
fast people are coming through your hire pipeline. Because obviously, from my perspective, I would rather see this money go to the staff members.
Correct. I would too. Yeah.
Compared to a contract firm.
Yeah.
If given that choice.
Yeah, I would agree. Yeah, I can definitely, I think they're willing to work with us just about any way we want. I will say that they have they're establishing this in Whitman County. And one of the benefits is we can swap dispatching back and forth. That's one way they deal with it. So they don't send somebody here for 6 months. They rotate their staff out. And so that will be beneficial for them too. They have another group that's close.
But wouldn't that require another 30-day training period?
Not necessarily. Once they'll send everybody that's going to work here to be trained, and then they'll well, we can do it two ways. We can do it as they come in, but I would prefer to send everybody they want to send. We'll do it all at once, and then they'll rotate them out as they see fit. That's the way it's been explained to me.
Okay. So right now, it would just be direction for him to go and
Yep.
negotiate a contract.
Yeah, I would say try to get a 3-month
Okay.
minimum commitment, go month to month after that,
Yeah,
and, try to get a March 1 start date.
okay. All right, I will do that. Thank you for thanks.
All right, item 16, board approval request for residual surplus funds to State of Idaho for unclaimed property treasurer's office. Ms. Wiest?
Good afternoon, Kelly Lease for the record with the Treasurer's Office. And we are requesting approval to release the surplus claim funds for the 2023, or from the 2023 tax deed auction to the state for those parcels that we did not receive a claim for.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request for residual surplus funds to the State of Idaho for unclaimed property.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 17, board approval request, claims for surplus funds from the tax deed auction. Again, Ms. Wiest?
Again, Kelly Lease for the record with the Treasurer's Office. And with this request, we are requesting approval for the release of the surplus funds from the 2023 tax deed auction for the parties listed on the memo you have. All the claims were received on time.
Okay, questions, motion?
I move that we approve the request for the claims for surplus funds from the tax deed auction with the Treasurer's Office.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye, thank you. Item 18, approval of lease agreement for Employee Health Clinic 920 Ironwood LLP and our Human Resources Director, Ms. Proud.
Sylvia Proud for the record. What I present to the board is a lease agreement with 920 Ironwood LLP for our employer-sponsored health clinic that's going to be ran by PMR. Legal has reviewed it. We've had Aquifer review the insurance components of it, and today we're presenting to you the final version of it. We're really excited to get this launched, and it's a great benefit for the employees that the board has been approving along the way.
Okay, questions, motion?
No questions, but thank you.
Questions?
I move that we approve the lease agreement for the Employees Health Clinic at 920 Ironwood LLB for the Employees Health Clinic.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Item 19, East Side Fire District Annexation, request for annexation for Bald Eagle Living Trust, Zeismer, Shields, Ingstrom, Asbestos, East Side Fire District, and our counsel, Dave Ferguson.
Commissioners, I reviewed the application packet for these various properties. They all qualify. The fire district published notice properly, had a meeting, approved the annexation that is for each property. Properties are all contiguous to current annexed properties, so at this point the board should approve.
Is this always homeowner driven?
I don't know if it's always is, but the ones I've seen have been.
Okay. Questions, motion?
I move that we approve the East Side Fire District annexation with the Bald Eagle Living Trust, Zeismer, Shields, Engstrom, Asbestos, and the East Side Fire District with the BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks,
Aye.
Commissioner Matari,
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. All right, item 20, board approval request. This is for Kootenai County Comprehensive Plan and SCJ. It's that proposal that we spoke about, I think, last Thursday. And Bruce, your name is on this.
Yes, it is. And today, from my perspective, is a great day for the county. It's been a long time since the people who live here have had a voice on the comp plan. The last survey that was done was back in the late 2000s. So this is that beginning step where the people who live here will actually have a voice and a say in the future direction of this community. So I move that the board approve the request to begin the Kootenai County Comprehensive Plan with SCJ and their proposal and the BOCC.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye. Where are the funds coming from?
Oh, fund balance, and I'd already spoken with our finance director about that, and she's aware of that.
Okay. Just with the, looking at the dispatch, 120,000 and this almost 60,000, we just want to keep an eye on not.
Yeah, I believe the
Dropping things
dispatch
down.
was with salary savings.
Nope.
No?
No, they said they wouldn't have enough salary savings if they were able to fill all their seats.
Yes, but they won't fill them until the end of the year.
I'm just going by what Lieutenant Higgins said when they talked to finance.
Yeah, Lieutenant Higgins, I thought he said that he hopes to have 7 positions filled by the end of this year, calendar year? Fiscal year. Okay.
All right, well, we can actually handle that when the contract comes before us.
Yes.
So, thank you. All right, item 21, board approval request, Aquifer Protection District Master Plan. We had a presentation last week on this, and so any questions on this master plan? I see that there are a lot of recommendations, and as the Aquifer Protection District brings them forward, we will be able to contemplate each one separately. And so, are there any questions or concerns?
Not at this point.
Okay, then I would take a motion to,
I move that we approve the request to approve the Aquifer Protection District Master Plan.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
aye. All right, thank you. Item 22, Resolution 2024-01, Establishment of Commissioner Districts per Idaho Statute 31704. And this is with Dave Christensen.
Hi, Commissioners. Dave Christensen for the record. Today I bring forward an analysis I did for our biannual commissioner redistricting. In essence, every 2 years, the state statute requires us to balance the commissioner districts as evenly as we can population-wise. In doing so, I was asked to do 2 analyses, one that would simply just look at population and balance that out into 3 even districts, a second analysis that would balance it out into 3 even districts, but also look to further balance incorporated and unincorporated properties, residences, if you will, population. So in doing so, we got from the census data that we have a roughly 190,000 population. We can see that roughly 63,600 people per district is what we should have. We have roughly an 8% high to low range when it comes to the population. Not too bad. I did propose in the first analysis 3 changes. Some of those are to handle some growth that we're having in the Coeur d'Alene Place area. Also to bring an area where the lines just weren't quite right so that we can have a better division between Coeur d'Alene and Hayden and just kind of keep those other political districts more in sync. And so that's kind of what the analysis shows for that. In doing so, I was able to reduce the high to low distribution of population down to 5.2%. And also allow for some future growth, which I thought would be valuable, which is my recommendation. When I took that same analysis and just went ahead and counted the number of residents inside of urban and rural, so in essence that second analysis, the numbers were fairly close. The only one that was even worth noting is out in the rural area where we have a 1,600 population difference between the high and the low, which out of 190,000 residents in the county, that's a fairly small percentage, and I didn't feel that we needed to make any more adjustments. So I felt that one proposal would take care of both requests, and hence that's what this proposal shows. If there's any questions, I'd be happy to take in.
Okay, questions for Dave?
No, I mean, I think you did a pretty good job overall. It's impossible, I think, to be precisely down to the individual.
It is.
And in fact, if you were to be, it would be inaccurate the very next day, as soon as someone moves in, so.
Bill?
We try to minimize the amount of errors in that. And won't bore you with how we do that, but we do take those into consideration along with structures that are being built, the ones that have already been approved, so they may not show up, whether it's on the tax rolls, but they're in the air photos, those kinds of things. So we look in multiple different sources to make sure we bring the data up to the best quality that we can prior to doing this.
Okay, questions, Bill?
Not a question, I just wanted to compliment you on your fine work.
Thank you.
There are no politics involved here.
No, nope. I sit in my office and do this work and then bring it out to everyone. And I just use the data sets that are listed on the analysis, and that's all.
Right, so we're keeping the current map from 2022.
No, the proposal would be that in this case, you would adopt map B on this. I believe the precincts, which is the next one, is going to be the one they're asking to keep.
Okay. I was under the impression that, well, I mean, let's have that discussion. Are we keeping the former, or are we doing the new one? Because I was going to keep the former,
Okay.
so.
Oh, I understood this because the proposed map was in there, and that would be more reflective of your analysis of the population.
Correct, right, and handle a little bit of growth. So the proposed map would be map B with map C, map C being the one that shows the blow-up of the area that changed. The only area that changed is indicated here on map C. And there's a little area over there on the west side by Hutter.
Which are you on?
This is 345,
Okay.
and it'd be easier if it were in color.
I know, and it's on the
But
side.
I'm okay if you want to take a look at this again, then revisit it next week.
Yeah, yeah, because I was ready to just keep it because the numbers were so little. So,
Yeah, it's a small area where you're.
It's a
making the
relatively
change.
small area for change. The area there just west of Hutter is all city of Coeur d'Alene, Hutter being, the dividing line, so that'll take and consolidate those districts. We went up to Hanley and then went up to Wilbur in there.
if you're, I mean, you wouldn't need to come back next week, but if you,
I can certainly come back.
yeah,
I'd be happy to.
I'm fine if you want to revisit it and have more time.
yeah.
Because I will say that when you get black and white maps like this on our packet, it was a little hard to decipher.
Yeah, they were sent over in color. I'll have to figure out how to make sure they get to you this time.
Yeah, I think we can scan them in color. I just don't know if that's been the practice, so that's just something we'll have to address and
Okay.
get those scanned in, but.
I will get you a set, well, why don't I leave you with my set?
Thank you. Thank
Get you a digital copy.
Maybe you can get those copied and distributed too. I'd like to see the difference, it was better.
Yeah. I will be happy to get these to both of you. So, thank you. And
You're
then item 23, Resolution 2024-02, Establishment of Election Precincts pursuant to Idaho Code 34-301, and our Elections Manager, Lisa Gray.
Good afternoon, Commissioners. Before you is a resolution that would establish the election precincts the same as they were adopted after redistricting in 2022. The reason I'm coming before you for this is that the Secretary of State's office has clarified to us that statute requires us to statute requires you to establish election precincts in every general election year, irregardless of whether they have changed any or not from what was already established. So I'm simply asking you to please re-establish the ones that are already in existence with no changes so we can utilize them for this year's elections.
Okay, questions, motion.
I move that we approve Resolution 2024-02, Establishment of Election Precincts pursuant to Idaho Code 34-301 with the Elections Department.
I second the motion.
Bill Brooks.
Aye.
Commissioner Matari.
Aye.
Chair Duncan.
Aye.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. Public comment. Okay. Anybody on the line? All right, 2:25, meeting adjourned. Thank you all.